Hi, guys. We have a very special guest with us today. She is a dear friend, and I love her so much. And I'm just so happy that you could make time to be with us today, Meena. So, Meena is a
My
mentor
pleasure.
for women and women led entrepreneurs. She's an international motivational speaker and an international best-selling author for Ignite Your Life for Conscious Leaders. Meena is the founder of Strong and Shine, a brand that inspires and transforms the lives of thousands of women all over the world. She has created an online community for women and teaches the average women to go from powerless to empowered through her three pillars, which is confidence, clarity, and conscious creation. Although Meena is qualified as lawyer in UK and New York and has held several senior management positions in renowned companies in UK, in Singapore, and Indonesia, she now focuses on empowering and mentoring women because she lives by the maxim that our playing small doesn't serve the world, and as we shine our light, we give other women the permission to shine. So welcome, Meena. We're just so happy to have you here.
I love
Welcome,
having
Meena.
these conversations with you both.
Yeah, it's so great to have you here, Meena. It's been a long time, and we've just seen your program is just absolutely phenomenal. So we
Thank
wanted to
you.
talk to you about that. So tell us, what inspired you to launch Empowered Women Academy?
Wow, that's such a great question. And when you're asking me that question, I'm getting goosebumps myself because the story started a long time ago. It started in 2016 when I lost 100% of my finances because I had trusted someone with my finances. And despite being very successful, I was not, in charge of my own money. And when I lost the finances, of course, like most people, you would expect I went on a downward spiral and hit rock bottom. After hit rock bottom, I knew I had a decision to make. Either I allow this to be the last chapter of my story of this book of life, or I use this as a plot twist from which I can empower myself. And that's when I sat and I said, what about this story do I want to carry forward with me? And what about the story must I learn? And I learned that as a woman, having brought up in this kind of an environment, this community, in the Indian setting, and I think a lot of women in other communities as well, regardless of how successful we are, we forget how powerful we are because we are constantly reminded and told that we should play small. And I didn't realize I had bought into the mindset of like, I just needed to just keep quiet, a good Indian girl, doesn't speak up, don't do this, don't do that. And as a result of that, I continued to play that role. And when I lost that money, it suddenly became very clear to me that I was playing two roles. Like a lot of times, I think we as women, we have that. At office, we are very successful. When you're at home, you're this docile, very nice Indian girl. And I realized that that didn't serve me at all. And so that was where I started my journey of learning how to grow myself, develop myself, and become more aligned with who I am supposed to be. So then I set a vision in 1 year that I wanted to buy a villa in Bali. And, you would think, who does that when you've lost all your finances? And I knew that whatever it was I had within me to get me to where I was, I can still get to where I want to be because that same resilience lives in all of us. And so when I continued to hold that vision true, within a year after that, I bought my dream villa. And that's when I quit my job because I knew that I had work to do. I knew that regardless of my success, everything that I achieved, it was time I got out and taught other women to empower themselves. So what led me to create this program? It's where my story started. My story started about me being powerless, regardless of how successful I was. And it's this program I created because I want women to understand that we are empowered beings. And when we are constantly playing powerless, we are not helping other people. Definitely, we're not helping ourselves.
Yeah, that's so true. Especially in the Asian culture, this is very common. And that's something that even Deep and I, because our culture is also Indian, so we also have dealt with the same thing where a lot of times it's like the default setting is just to give up that control, give up that, just kind of be the
Yeah.
follower,
Yeah.
in the setting. And yeah, it's so important to actually take on that, your power back.
Yes. And it's really interesting, isn't it? Because we talk about women empowerment so much, but I think we are fighting the wrong battles. We shouldn't be talking about empowerment as something that exists outside of us. We are already empowered. We just somewhere along the line were conditioned to believe otherwise. And so, this is why I created this program, to get people back to who they actually are, our true identity, and knowing and being and living the authentic life that we were created to live.
Yeah, I've really experienced that. Like even after the first time I got connected with you, it was just your passion about empowering women, and just being in that, being giving women that permission to be themselves and creating
Yeah.
that space. It's just so powerful, because a lot of the times, people don't know where to go when they want to change something in their life,
Yeah.
especially
Yeah.
for women. I haven't heard of a Empowered Women Academy before.
Yeah.
There is a place where women can just go, and there's a whole module, there's a whole curriculum that would help
Yes.
them go from step by step to just kind
Yeah.
of unravel what's
Yeah.
possible.
It's really important for us as people to understand that we are our biggest project. What I keep talking about in my lives and also in my programs is that we want to invest in things that will impress people. We want to invest in, like, designer bags. We want to have like this all designer wardrobe. We will invest in all of that only because we want people to make us feel good. We want to feel validated. Whereas I think that our ability to validate ourselves is, first of all, much higher and is much healthier. And secondly, no one talks about personal development. Now, yes, the world is growing and now people are becoming more conscious of it. But like in our communities, people don't understand that this is so important. Everything that we think about ourselves, every action we take, every decision in our life, everything is based on beliefs that does not serve us. And so it's really important for us to go back to who we are and understand that our beliefs and the ones we pick should empower us instead of disempowering us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, what would you say is one thing that prevents women from like creating the life that they want?
I think, first of all, they need to get out of their own story. Most of the time, they don't understand that it is just a story. It is a story. Everything that we think is the problem with the world and what families tell us, and like, no, I can't, no, it's not possible. All this is everything combined into one. Our limiting beliefs, the beliefs that we choose that don't empower us. Everything is just a story. So when people tell me that, I can't because, and I ask them, where in that statement is it a fact? It's not a fact, because most times we say things that is not possible. So for example, one of my clients, she was complaining a lot about how she was not able to live life on her own terms, in the sense that her day was constantly being dictated by other people. And regardless of her drawing the boundaries, she was constantly asked, the boundaries were constantly violated. And of course, as women, even though we are successful and we have a career, and given the current situation, most people are working at home. So she felt that her boundaries were constantly being violated because she was the madam of the house, and at the same time she was working. And she said, people just didn't understand. My family members did not respect the fact that I needed to work. But when I actually worked with her and went deeper, I understood that it was not so much about people respecting the boundaries. It's about us training people the way people treat us. And so if we don't learn how to respect ourselves and value ourselves, we are actually training other people to do the same for us. And little things like that, little mind shifts like that, really changes the quality of our life on a day-to-day basis, as a result of which it changes the quality of our thoughts, and hence it changes our future. And a lot of people don't think about that. They just think about, they complain about how it is, and every day they wake up in the morning, complain again. But they don't realize you have what it takes to change it. And so this is the reason why I created the academy. And the one thing I would say to women who say that, we want to create our own life, but we don't know how to, I would say to them that the fact that they think they can't is because they've been told to believe that. And that in itself is a story. The fact is, all of us have the power to be, do, and have anything we want in our life. Anything. We just need two things. We need belief in ourselves, and we need to have a very clear strategy. These are two things that we need. It's like a business. Whether you have a life vision or a business, these two things will make or break it, mindset and strategy.
Yeah, so true. So would you say that mindset is one of the main things when it comes to designing your life?
Yeah, like business, like life, mindset is 80%, strategy is 20. It's a known fact, because it's the same thing with sales, right? When you sell, if you don't believe in your product, nobody's going to buy it from you. People buy from you because of what they see. They see you living and speaking that identity that you are trying to sell. But if you are somebody who's not convinced, how are you going to convince other people? It's the same thing with our life. Our mindset makes or changes everything. Our relationships, our success, our health, everything. Like for example, people believing, what I get a lot is more about health. For example, people believing that as you get older, by default, you should look older. As you get older, you should have health problems, And so people sometimes tell me how lucky I am to look the way I do because of my age. The fact is, it's got nothing to do with luck. It is mindset. It's 80% mindset, because if your mindset is, you got your mindset right, everything else you can do. Because think about it, right? Nowadays, what diet is not available? Everything is available on the internet. Anything you want on YouTube, you want Google, everything. But why is it that people who still have not lost the weight that they say they want to, and they've been talking about it for 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, why have they not lost it? Mindset. Not that they didn't know where to get the exercise. It's there. What's stopping them? It's not the exercise, it's not the diet, it's them.
Yeah. Just like knowing something actually doesn't make any difference.
Yes. Doing it makes a difference.
Exactly. And then the mindset comes in play, just like you said, when it comes to actually doing something. Because if you have a strong belief that, oh, I'm never going to be able to lose weight, or I'm never going to be able to make that sale, then of course you won't take the action that's necessary to actually make it happen. And then
absolutely. Absolutely. This is the first thing I tell my people who buy my program. I say, the first thing you need to agree is you are going to be coachable. You are not going to say, but this will not work, that will not work. Because at the end of the day, I know this is going to work if you do it. Because how you approach small things is how you approach big things. How you show up to the world is how the world shows up to you. So if you're going to say that this is not going to work, clearly that mindset has managed to jeopardize many areas of your life, because you've always said it doesn't work. How about for once? So I told them a little mind shift trick. I said, either you be coachable. If you can't be coachable, be someone who respects your own commitment, because you bought this program. So just humor yourself and humor me in the process, that even if you think it doesn't work, you are just going to commit to it, because you're somebody who is going to have the integrity to start something and finish that. Even if it's nothing else, it's just that. And true enough, every single one of them did exactly what I asked them to do. And it's only been the fourth module. We have 6 weeks, so it's fourth module. And I can tell you, when I had the session with them yesterday, I was just so inspired. I was so inspired by every single one of them, because they clearly had made a radical 180-degree shift in their marriage, in their lack of self-confidence to be feeling empowered, in their relationships with colleagues, in their health and fitness. I mean, one of them actually made sure that she started taking on health and fitness seriously and had very clear goals, Another one felt like she just constantly was a codependent and looking for validation from, her husband. And once she shifted that mindset, it shifted her behavior and her conversations with her husband. So a lot of things changed drastically. It's just that we have to be willing to take ourselves on as a project.
So is there like, would you say, is there like any age limit to when you can start? Like
No,
on your own journey? Is it like, too early or too late? Or what do you think
no,
about that?
never. I think like more than 99% of people die without ever having experienced life. This is the sad part. Most people die because they have lived their life on autopilot. No one gets to experience that life. So even if there are women in their 50s, in their
Mhm.
60s who are wanting to take themselves on and change their mind, this is the thing. Another belief that we have been that we have actually bought into. I am too old to fill in the blanks,
Yes.
and that is again not the truth at all. I think if you are open to learning and agree that you will learn until you are in your grave, you are going to have a phenomenal life, because things are constantly changing around you. I mean, look at the world we live in right now. This pandemic came out of the blue, and if we were not adaptable people, if we didn't know how to adapt, then we would just be stuck in our stories, stuck in the same. And sadly, there are people like that. This pandemic has either been a fantastic opportunity for people who learn how to maneuver their business and adapt their life, or it has literally killed businesses and pushed people into depression. That happens because we are those kind of human beings who resist change. And it's the same thing. We buy into the lie that when we get older, it's too late to change. Things are constantly changing around us, and we are constantly changing, but we are not aware of it. And sadly, most times we're changing, we're getting bitter, not better. So if you're open to learning, we can actually change the way we want to change. We adapt based on the beliefs that we choose, not the beliefs that were actually shoved down our throats. And it's
Yeah.
never too late. In my program, I have somebody who is 26 and someone who's 57. So I have like such a huge range, and they bond so fantastically well. So it's my dream, and it's my desire and hope that every single woman in this world understands how powerful we truly are, and we can achieve anything we want. It's not just a personal life, but business. I don't care whether they are homemakers. I don't care whether they have no experience. They can become successful. They can have financial independence. The only one thing they need to conquer is themselves. That's it. Nothing else. Nobody else. It's just themselves. Their belief that I need experience, their belief that I'm not smart enough, their belief that it's too late. All this they need to conquer. And when they are ready and bring themselves, up and say, game on, anything is possible.
Yeah, and I think you are definitely someone that really demonstrates that. One of the things that's always really inspired me about you is that you come from an Indian culture, and especially the generation that you come from. Obviously, you're not that old. We'll have to tell people how old you are, because people are
It's
going to be
okay. I
wondering.
don't mind that. I don't mind that.
And but you literally created a life. You're a lawyer, you're a very high position executive in the corporate world as well. And I feel like to achieve that, and to achieve all of the things that you achieved in your life, it's like most people um, from the same culture and generation would be like, oh no, I'm a woman, I
Yeah.
can't really do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And that's been my experience with a lot of women as well, because we come
Yeah.
from the same culture. And I know that a lot of women hold themselves back from really following their dreams and going for what they want, because they are a woman. Like that that itself is a real mindset belief that
Yes.
really stops them, that no, but
Yes.
women can't do that. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's just, yeah, it's, you've really demonstrated with your whole
Thank you.
life that mindset has everything to do with how you look,
Yeah.
how you show up in the world. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's
I
even
have
with
been
like
very,
small things, not even like any big decision, just small things, the way you want to have a
yes.
lifestyle.
Yeah.
There's really simple stuff. And I feel like a lot of women, they just don't allow themselves to
Yes.
experience, like to
Yes.
just experience life on their own
Yeah.
terms, because it's like, oh my gosh, what's somebody gonna say? How am I
Yeah.
supposed to act? And that's
Yeah.
instilled in a very young age, I think, and that which is
Yeah.
why that block is there. Subconsciously, you just start
Yes.
acting a certain way.
Yeah. It's a programming. I mean, like, according to neuroscience, until the age of 7, we are literally being programmed. It's like a computer. We are a computer. We didn't have a software, and the software was installed until the age of 7. After 7, all we're doing is we're just cutting and pasting. We're playing the program again and again and again. And unless we learn to change the program, every experience we have in our life is just going to play out that programming we have. So if we believe since we were kids that, I don't have what it takes, every time you want to try and take a small step, somehow it will work out as such that you will constantly have these experiences that will reinstate in you that you don't have what it takes, because this is just a program you have. And in my case, since I was a kid, since I was 5, I remember telling my uncle I want to be a lawyer when I grow up. And he said to me, you mean you want to hang your law degree above the stove while you cook for your husband? And for a short while, I think I was I was taken aback, because part of me was, I'm a kid, what do I know about the world? And okay, I feel my dreams crashing, but at the same time, like, this doesn't feel right. I mean, yeah, he knows more about the world, but this doesn't feel right. But somehow I had completely a mind shift within minutes. I just said, okay, underestimate me, this will be fun. But I didn't say anything, just in my mind. I just said, underestimate me, I'll prove to you. And because I had that mindset, I was constantly looking for role models, constantly looking for opportunities that would prove that I can do this. And I just happened to watch a Bollywood movie with my mom and my aunts. And in that Bollywood movie, I saw a woman who looked like a Greek goddess, and she was standing in court and she was fighting this case. And I looked at her and I fell in love with the persona. And I said, I want to be her, because she truly looks like she's in charge of her life. She truly looks like she's not going to take any nonsense from nobody. I want to be her. And that stuck in my mind. This is what people talk about, creating vision boards. That was my vision board. I created that vision since I was 5, and that's it. I continue to live my life based on and being directed by that future vision. And one of my favorite quotes is by Joe Dispenza, and he says, your life is either being determined by the memories of your past or the vision of your future. And I have always deliberately created and designed my life, because my past only impacts me to the extent of the lessons I can learn. More than that, it has no space in my life, because I need to constantly be driven by that future vision. And another favorite quote of mine is by Les Brown, who says that the richest place in the world is the graveyard, because that's where you will see dreams that have never been fulfilled, books that were never written, songs that were never sung because people were too afraid. And I live most of my life through my conscious mind, although, according to neuroscience, our life is 95% subconscious, 5% conscious. But I am, as much as possible, conscious of my life, because I want to deliberately create my life. Most people they don't consciously create their life. They just, by default, whatever, they have excuses, stories. At the end, what happens? Nothing.
And that's just how it is. It's like, either you're going to be designing it, or you're just going to go with it
by default. Yeah.
And then in the end, you end up like living somebody else's idea of life. It's not even your own.
Yes.
You end up following somebody else's.
Look at you both. Look at you both. You've done that as well. You've deliberately, consciously created your life. You could have easily sat back at home. You could have easily listened to the stories that you were told about, like, you will never be successful. You will never do this. You'll never do this. But you are constantly driven by your future vision, not by what people think. And in fact, I'm sure what people think just adds icing to the cake, because for you, it's more like, one day I'm just going to prove it to you. And then you constantly do, So this is one thing I want every woman to be able to do. We have the freedom. We have the freedom And another favorite quote of mine, I'm a quote person, I love this quote by Rumi, and he says, why do you stay in prison when the door is wide open? And that's how we live our lives, right? We are constantly in this prison of our mind, but the door is open.
Yeah.
Yes.
So true. I mean, even for us, I think we've had to really overcome so many limiting beliefs
Exactly.
in terms of even as women, as Indian women, being able to run
Yes.
our own business.
Yeah.
That in itself was like, we really had to keep re-looking at our belief
Yeah.
system. So I find that anytime I feel like I'm being stopped or I'm not taking the action that I really need to, I really have to go back and look at what is the belief, like what do I think is going to happen if I did that, you know? So just like
And
you
it's
said,
not easy. It's not easy because you are facing your own limiting beliefs, but that is compounded by what you're being told externally. You know, it's not easy. So for you to go against that, you really, really have to be very conscious and deliberately choose these beliefs. And most people say, I don't have the strength. But nowadays, there is no reason for you not to go out there and get help. You know, that's why there are so many coaches nowadays. Why? Because people are becoming aware of the fact that we have really, really only one life, and this is the life that you have a good chance of designing, not the life that you should live based on other people's expectations. You know, so understanding that you have the power to create that life. And also financial freedom. I'm really passionate about giving women and empowering women to have financial freedom, because a lot of women have been told that they play a supporting role in life. They don't need to be working, and they don't really need to have a purpose because their husband looks after them. And even when they're single, they are kind of told to dumb down so that they can find a suitable husband. And as a result, when things don't go according to the way they want to, they can't get out because they don't have the financial freedom. And in a lot of cases, they already have kids. So what do you do? You know, and so I think it's really important for women, and empowering women for me is two aspects. One is understanding the mindset of how we are already empowered and working our way up to becoming that person. And second is working on our financial freedom.
It's like women are taught that, oh, you can either have a house or be a good, like, homemaker, or you can have a career. You can never have both.
Which is not true.
Like I was told my auntie, she visited me. She's like, you're still doing your business? I was like, yeah. She's like, I think you should quit, get a teaching job, and then find a guy, because nobody's going to want to like you be with you if you're doing business. I was like, how about I'm just going to say no to that?
No, did you ask her, did you ask her, say, okay, and what is that life going to look like? You know, and is that the life that I want?
Yeah, she was very clear that that's the ideal life for you.
Yeah.
You're just wasting your time. I was like, wow, you're very vocal about it. And I can see that it's just like you used to believe.
Yeah. And you see, unless you really became evolved as a person, you would not know how to handle that. You know, it could psychologically affect you. But the thing is, you also have done a lot of work on yourself, and you understand that mindset is so important. That's why you have been focusing on your own goals and what you want in your life versus what other people want out of you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's at one point we just realized that if someone is saying that to us, they're actually living that truth. And it's not like they're attacking you or they're trying to get you or stop you. It's just that they're brought up in the same culture. That's all that they've learned, the 7-year programming, you know. So it's like they're just communicating what they know is the best for you, and they're just trying to make a difference.
And because they run on a program.
Exactly. So that's why it's like doing that conscious work, just like you said, is so important, because something like that in the past would have just like crushed her, and me as well. Like if someone said that to me, I would be like, oh my God.
Yeah.
So tell us about you're launching the Empowered Women Academy business course.
Yes.
We would love to know about that.
Okay, so I am not finished. I've closed the cart for the Empowered Women Academy for the personal, because that one was my 3 pillars, and my 3 pillars, as Deep mentioned earlier, was confidence, clarity, and creation. That was the personal course. The business course I'm launching also has 3 pillars, and the 3 pillars are passion, purpose, profit. And so in this course, I'm going to be teaching women, and this is the best part. You don't need experience, you don't need a degree, you don't need capital. You can start a business online. And this is the beauty. I think most people don't know that this is possible. And it's not important, because I came from professional background. I didn't know any of this. So it just goes to show that you don't need all that degree and qualifications and experience. I had to learn the whole process. And so my goal in this program is to teach women how to be able to create a product, a digital product, so that they can sell it online. And as a result of that, over and over, as they launch it, it is something that can be passive income. They don't have to constantly create the product. Because, like nowadays, until this day and age, people are creating products that they have to sell. So for example, baking a cake, unless you deliver the cake, you're not going to be able to get money, so you have to constantly show up, you have to constantly bake the cake. But if you create a digital product, you can sell it one to many, over and over and over again. So this is what I want to teach people, because all of us have more knowledge than the average person. There is always someone in your life that is looking up to you, always. And there is always some skill, knowledge, experience that you have that other people would die to pay for. And so in this course, I want to teach them how to identify their passion, but how to convert that passion into purpose. And the reason purpose is so important for me is because I believe we were created to impact other people. If God wanted us to only be thinking about ourselves and our success, we would have 7.8 billion islands, and all of us would be the god of our own islands, But we are not living in our own islands. We are living in one world, different caste, different religion, different, sex, different gender, everything. And at the same time, we have to think about how to bridge the gap and how we can actually support each other. And this is why I want people to start thinking about not just making money from passion, but how that passion can be converted to purpose to impact lives. And then come up with a clear strategy as to how you can convert that purpose into profit. Because without strategy, you're not going to be able to do this. And of course, because I'm so passionate about mindset, and I know mindset makes or breaks it, I am including bonus sessions in it. And the bonus sessions include, money mindset. And one of the modules already includes, a lady boss mindset, because unless and until you have the right mindset, you will not be able to make your business successful. So that's the program I'm launching.
That's such a beautiful vision, and I'm so looking forward to it, because seriously, so many people, they kind of feel like directionless when it comes to, oh, how can you create, what is it that I can even provide,
Yeah.
And that digital, the digital product that you were talking about is just so valuable, because you're doing it like, you can be doing it from anywhere. You don't need anything special.
Absolutely.
And at the same time, you can just share your vision with other people. You can share your ideas and just provide that value.
People need it. I mean, I'll give you an example, right? Like, okay, during the pandemic, in the last few months in Indonesia, from the last I heard, there were about 70 catering businesses that just started from home, just like that. So first of all, when we say that, oh, pandemic is a bad time for business, think again, because whatever you give attention to, you give power to, So if you think that it is a challenge, behind every challenge lies an opportunity. That's the one thing I want people to remember. It's always a good time to launch a business. Second thing is, these businesses, as great as it is, and it came out at a time when it was, when people are stuck at home. And of course, what better way than to make money during this time? But that's not a sustainable business model, because you have to constantly cook and you have to be constantly in the kitchen to be able to sell what you bake or what you cook. What I want to do is give people the ability to convert that into a digital product so that they can monetize, and they don't have to constantly bake hundreds and hundreds of cakes in order to sell. You know, once they sell digital products, they can have a sustainable business. You're not trading your time for money.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they can focus on marketing rather than constantly selling and also creating, you know. So I mean, we live in the information age. This is the time that this is the time to actually, you know, use your gifts and
impact the world,
empower the world, help other people.
Yes, it's so important. And like, even before COVID hit, I read the statistics and it said by 2025, the online education business is going to be around $325 billion in 2025. This is before COVID. So can you imagine after COVID, that number must have gone up. And so even before COVID, if that's the number, we're talking about $1 billion a day. Look at how much money there is, you know? And so don't you want a piece of that pie? You know, so why not, you know, get with the program now? It's never too late.
Yeah. And that's the thing, like nowadays, even children are doing school online. It's like, this is the time to actually educate yourself in the online world and learn how to leverage that. Yeah.
And also all the education that you get in you know, university is not going to teach you this. It's not going to teach you this.
No.
All it's going to teach you is, again, how you can trade your time for money. It's not about how you can be your own boss. It doesn't teach you entrepreneurship. And entrepreneurship is the most rewarding. At first, I would be lying if I say it's not challenging. At first, it's very challenging. Why? Because you're doing something very different from what you are used to. And especially if it's aspiring entrepreneurs, they really have to conquer that mindset of, I'm not good enough, nobody will buy from me, why would anyone buy from me, and I don't know anything. They have to conquer all that before they can actually start developing something, you know. And for me, it's like, if you know that you are somebody who's going to flake out, work with somebody so you don't have an option. In my case, when I quit my job and I felt like I just wanted to do this, but I was very nervous and I was very, you know, confused where to start, didn't know what to do, simply because as experienced as I was, this space it's a blank slate for me. I don't understand anything. I didn't even know where to start, you know? And I thought, what am I going to do? And if you talk about buying program, oh my God, which program do I buy? There's like millions, right? And all of them are doing well, but you just don't know which one is the right one for you. And so what I did was I hired a coach, and she was ridiculously expensive. I must say, she was ridiculously expensive. But then I also understand, and I love all these mind hacks. You know, I love the one mind hack that if there is no skin in the game, you will not play. So I just thought, if I put the money down, I will have no choice but to commit to the process. And so I put a lot of money down. And in fact, when I agreed with her, I was going to sign up with her, I didn't have to pay her immediately, but I actually paid her 30% upfront. She said to me, you don't need to pay now. I said, no, I'm going to do this now because I know I'm going to back out otherwise. So she thought it was quite funny, but yeah, you know, I'm one of those people who would keep myself accountable in this process, because I know the old version of me my subconscious mind will get me to go back to my old setting, whereas my new direction and my aim is different. And so I did that, and literally within less than a month, I was able to get a client, and I made all that money back with one client, just one client. You know, just really goes to show, if you invest in yourself and you really just make sure you don't give yourself an option, this is how the mind works. It will find a way. But if you are constantly questioning yourself and saying, it's not going to be possible, and you keep going round and round and round, the vicious cycle, before you know it, you're just going to be proving yourself right.
Yeah, and then you even can't see any other possibilities or any other direction when you're in the circle of like, you know, this is not possible.
Yes.
When you have that conversation.
because we are not aware of our thoughts, and we just think our thoughts are real, and we don't have any awareness that, oh, I have the power to choose that thought. And so as a result of it, it's the same thoughts every single day. And so that's why our present equals our past, and our future equals our past as well, because it's the same thoughts that's driving every single day of our lives.
Yeah, so true. And you know what you said about getting the coach, it is so important, because
Yeah.
if you find someone that's already created the results that you want to create in your life, it's better to actually get mentored by that person.
Yes,
because
exactly.
they've already made all of the mistakes that you're going to have to make
Yes.
if you're going to do it on your own. So
Yeah.
if you want to fast forward that process, it's better to actually learn from someone who's already created the results, who's already done what you really want to do and get where you want to be, you know?
Yeah, and success leaves clues. Success always leaves clues, you know? Like you said, why would you want to go through the whole process again when you know you can shortcut the process and avoid all the pitfalls that other people have avoided, so that you can learn to fast track? And also the process that will help in terms of making sure you fast track is not just the strategy, it's the mindset. Because when you're doing it on your own, you will talk yourself out of it. You will for sure talk yourself out of it. You'll just keep saying, oh, maybe it might be possible. Maybe it might be possible tomorrow, before you know it, next year, the year after, and the year after, you know? But if you're working with someone and there is a starting date, and you know that that person has conquered all this mindset and all the limiting beliefs, you can get help every step of the way. And as a result of that, by the time you're done with, 6 to 8 weeks, you look back, you're like, wow, I've come a long way since I started doing this. And so anything that I always tell the girls in my program, if it scares you, do it. Because the reason it scares you is because when you get scared, basically it's your subconscious mind telling you, don't change anything. We like status quo, stay in the habit. And if you start disrupting that habit, it will start telling you not to, because you should stay in the safe lane. And it has a purpose. The reason the subconscious mind tells us that is because in the event we start taking risks, which is not good for us and causes us harm, its job is to protect us. And because its job is to protect us, it will constantly tell us to stay in the safe lane. But sometimes it overprotects us, and as a result of that, nothing changes. And I always say, if nothing changes, then nothing changes, So if you really want change, something has to change.
Yeah, so true. And who better to teach about business than you? I mean, one of the things that I absolutely admire about you is that you are all about the mindset, but you're also all about action and creating results. So
yes,
I think that makes, when you put it together, it's incredible, because I can imagine, like, anyone that's going to be doing your course is going to get amazing results for sure.
Thank you. Yeah, because first you conquer yourself, then you have a clear goal, then you reverse engineer, and then you start putting together the strategy. Once you do that, there is no reason why you're not going to work, why it's not going to work. And so people tell me, it's such a pity you did law and now you're doing this. And I'm like, why is it a pity? Because at one point I had short hair and now I have long hair. Who says we have to be the same every single time? We are always evolving, and we have a certain calling at a certain phase in our life. And so for me, my calling, I think all along has been how I can get myself to success and then teach other women to do that. Because why would I be teaching other women that until I have achieved it myself? And now there are coaches a dime a dozen who want to teach you business, but they don't necessarily have the experience. And so it's very important, I find, that first of all, work on yourself, achieve your own results before you go out there and teach other people. Because if you have not achieved the results yourself, you're just being academic. It's by the book. And then you don't have this ability to connect and understand with your clients and the people you work with what they are facing and how to help them overcome it.
Yeah, because it's not hands-on experience then.
Yes. Yeah. And it's not real. It's all by the book.
So Meena, what are some of the, words of wisdom you would like to leave our listeners with?
Wow, I have so many words, but the main thing I want to say is you can be, do, and have anything you put your mind to, anything. And if anyone ever tells you otherwise, say exactly the same thing I said in my mind. Underestimate me, this will be fun, because you have that power already. It's just about stepping into that power. Those are my last words.
Amazing. So where can our listeners connect with you and check out your amazing courses?
Thank you. So my website is strongandshine.com. That's one word. And everything is strong and shine. So even on Instagram, I'm strong and shine, one word. On Facebook, I have a strong and shine community. And we just hit 3,000 2 days ago. So I'm really excited about that.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And if they want to get in touch with me, they can email me. It's Meena at strongandshine.com. Meena with MEENA.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. I will put that in the show notes.
Thank you so much for the time. And, I always enjoy talking to you both. And if you remember, many times we talked before and we kept saying, this should be recorded. This should be recorded. And now this is happening.
Yeah, that's for
Yeah,
sure.
for sure. Absolutely. Yeah, I'll put your contact details in the show notes. And honestly, this conversation has been phenomenal. So thank you so much for your time,
I think
Meena.
so too. And I want every single woman, especially every single Indian woman, to listen to this conversation, especially the aunties. They need to hear this, okay? Because it's never, ever too late.
Yes.
Yes.